Ladies and gentle frogs, what it is, it's your old boy Pilg, and we have the weekly Danmemo news. So let's go ahead and jump in here. There's not a lot to discuss, but we do have some revelations about what's happening. So let's go ahead and get this discussion on. What do you say? First things first, we knew Familia War Game is coming. That does mean that Record Buster ended a night early, so Record Buster actually ended last night. I kind of didn't get my final runs in, which sucks, but it is what it is. I got a pretty fairly decent score. I don't think I made top 100, which was my goal. But it is what it is. Like, I wish I'd gotten the Record Buster video out earlier, knowing that. I usually try to give you guys at least 24 hours to absorb what was dropped. So my bad on that one. But Familia War Game is live right now. We're in pre-round. I believe the actual battle starts Wednesday night, so start working on your War Games teams. If you want to know basically a good way to vet your War Games teams right now, go into the old War Game tab. And when you're in that War Game tab, you can actually go to anybody that you followed, and you can battle those people. So right now, you can go battle everybody that you followed, and you can work on a War Game team and vet the hell out of that team. This is that rare situation where I think if you haven't dropped Star Bonds on some units, while we do have Part 3 incoming, it's not a bad idea to start considering, okay, cool, I need these units, are really important. Maybe it's time to blow some bonds. Just a thought, guys. Just a thought. Do not go over 10 summons on the banners, guys. I know this is going to be a big question for people, but I don't have Star Bonds. What do I do? Don't go over 10 summons. While it would be good for your Familia, you personally kind of got to think about the future of what's happening. Remember, we have Part 3 incoming, and you're going to need 8,000 Iris total to do all the summons on Part 3. So if you blow your Iris now, you're not going to have Part 3 Iris. And I feel like Part 3 is going to have way better units than Part 2 did. So don't do that. Like, don't go over 10 summons. You could win, but you could lose. And if you watched me do it on the last set of banners, you most likely will lose. It took me 1,200 Iris just to get one 4-star after the guaranteeds had dropped. So it's not worth, guys. It is not worth. Whatever you've got now, if you need Star Bonds, there are ways to get Star Bonds. Farm up some known tickets. You know, blow some potato snacks if you have them. You can get tons and tons and tons and tons of gnome tickets from the current events. So really think about your strategy going forward and what you want to do as far as what units you want to use there. Use all your tools ahead of you and plan your Familia War Games. But if you haven't finished your summons on Part 2, definitely finish them up. Go to 10 summons on each one of them. But save some for Part 3, because like I said, in total you're going to spend 8,000 Iris on Part 3. We'll talk about that here in a moment, but let's move on, because we have Training War Game. I think this used to be called Trial War Game. Whatever. Trial War Game, Training War Game, whatever you want to say. I think training's a better word for it, because basically the best way you can use this is fight your War Game fights, try to get up to the King rank as fast as you can, and then use that as another way to vet teams. It'll give you a good idea of who's running what in Familia War Game. Because remember, as good as stall teams tend to be in regular War Game, the goal is always to beat your opponent within 4 turns. If you're stalling out to turn 15 just to win, you're not going to get all your points in Familia War Game. It's a thought, guys. You got to strategize and think about these things. So this is a good way to later on in War Game, when we start really getting into like the harder fights, a good way to vet your teams. So while this doesn't give Iris rewards, it will not give Iris rewards. It gives other rewards, and like I said, it's a great way to test your teams. So consider that. 7th Zone is back, and we actually know more or less what it's going to be this week. We've got Light Zone, and we've got Thunder Zone. So Light Zone, most definitely. Start preparing your dark teams. No telling whether these are going to be AoE or single target. I think the last 2 have been single, so I'm kind of expecting these to be AoE for better or worse. But start preparing your teams, guys. Otaro's going to be a no-brainer for this if you have Rage Otaro. Like, he'll do single target, he'll do multi-attack, he'll do all that just fine. So if you've got him, make him the cornerstone of your team. And if you've seen how we built out 7th Zone teams as of recent, you could really start to plan your team ahead of time. Remember, we're still in triple rewards, so you'd be silly not to at least try to beat very hard. Is it EX or very hard? Whatever the top Legion is. You'd be really silly not to beat that. You got to work on that, guys. Thunder, I believe that's water that is incoming. So, is it water or is it earth? Earth. I think it's earth, actually. Take that back. It's earth. So, start preparing this, guys. You know what to do, and I really suspect that it is going to be AoE, so... Because I think the last two have been single target, so I feel like they're going to switch it up. Hopefully they don't do multi-ailment again. That really sucks. But usually these are stun. We'll see if they change it up. But for now, you can prepare. 7th zone is incoming. Pretty easy stuff, guys. And once again, if you haven't been doing 7th zone, these Ascension materials are vital these days. I think, in fact, Weapon Ascension is going to make all the difference in the world in Wargame going forward. So, go do it. Go do it, 100%. Labyrinth City Collection ends tomorrow, I think tonight. 8/5 tomorrow, technically. But we got our last rewards today, so I'll make a whole separate video about this, but there's so many reasons why you want to do this. Even if your unit isn't winning, it does benefit you greatly to spend all your tickets. So we'll cover that in its own video tonight. Heroic Trial ends tomorrow. I think it actually ends tonight, doesn't it? Maybe it ends tomorrow. Heroic Trial is ending. Now, if you guys haven't done Heroic Trial, remember, this is a free bond for any one of those first banner units. The first banner on part 2, any one of those units gets a free bond, and I really feel like the assist is the best bond to get there just for a number of reasons. I talk about that in its own separate video, so I'll put that in the description down below. Click there. If you haven't finished it up, go do it. I'll show you guys how to beat the EX pretty easily. You might not get an S clear on it if your team isn't amazing, but I feel like these are really, really, really easy Heroic Trials. So go do it, guys. The other Heroic Trial I expect to end next week, so make sure you finish that up. Labyrinth City Collection, we just talked about that, and I'll release its separate video today. Astray Record Part 3 drops next week, along with the audio for the latest stuff. So, if you haven't been saving for this, the big question everyone has, how much Iris do I need? 8,000 Iris. But remember, we're going to get more Iris as Part 3 goes on, and there's plenty of ways to farm Iris between now and next week. I will show you guys in videos several different ways you can farm Iris very, very quickly. So we'll talk about all that later this week. It's basically the same video I've done before, but to a hopefully much greater extent this time. So for now, that is pretty much it. That's the roadmap for us leading into Part 3 next week. Project 2 is on. That's basically Part 2 of the anniversary. 3rd anniversary gotcha. That's the Bell and Hestia gotcha. If you haven't gone too deep on that, I don't think it's worthwhile. Bell is good. Hestia is amazing. Hestia is now free to play. You got a free one of her. And they're in the general pool. So I would say save your Irish for the time-limited units. Time-limited units pay out way better in the long run. Especially considering if you max Hestia now, and then you get a ton of her in the future, what good is that? You know? I mean, it's dull, but yeah. Then tomorrow, Familia War Game kicks off. Technically, it's live right now, but it's in the pre-round. The fights begin tomorrow night, so start preparing your teams now. 7th Zone kicks off tomorrow. War Game Trial kicks off tomorrow. And then, here's the fun part. Next Tuesday, I'm guessing that is going to be on the live stream. Next Tuesday will be the results from the Labyrinth City Collection. So, those things we've been voting on, they're going to announce the winners next week. So stay tuned for that, guys. We'll talk about all that next week when the news drops. For now, that is the news. I'm sorry there wasn't a huge amount, but it gives us a roadmap to talk about everything going forward this week. So like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe to stay up to date because we do this every Tuesday morning, and we've got Danmachi videos pretty much every day. So hopefully catch you guys on the next one. Hit the notification bell. That'll help too.